We got Crayons. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Angelo? Good, dude. Got another night here where I got the kids down early, and I thought I'd call in and see what's up with some fights.
Well, there you go. Because I was full panic mode trying to get my kids down because my wife was like,
Usually
"Hey, I'm
that's
gonna."
me.
Well, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna step out. I got to go to Home Goods real quick." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, okay." So my kids are supposed to go to bed at 7 p.m. We do this show at 7:30. That 30 minutes feels like a long time.
Yeah,
It goes by like the get in your bed, get back in your bed, get under
yeah,
your cover. It's a whole
yeah,
thing, but
yeah.
we
I
made
hear
it
you there.
work.
Absolutely, we did. Got her done.
All right, well here we
Some.
go. You ready to break down this fight with me?
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Next up at the UFC Saudi Arabia fight card, we have Bogdan Grad taking on Lucas Alexander. This is an interesting fight with a lot of line movement. Bogdan Grad opening as a 2-1 favorite. A couple of short weeks later, all of a sudden he is squarely the underdog. A full-blown flip has happened here. Bogdan Grad 14-2 in his career. 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that redemption win on the Contender Series, and he is making his official UFC debut. Taking on Lucas Alexander. 14-7 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming back after a full year away. And what makes this fight pretty interesting is Bogdan's a well-rounded guy. He's a pretty controlled guy when you watch him, but he's got plenty of finishes. Even though when you go out there and you watch his tape and you look at what he's doing, it doesn't seem like he's chasing a finish, and he's not going crazy, but this guy has 11 stoppages in those 14 wins. He's well-rounded. He's got solid striking. The striking's pretty straightforward. He's going to stick to jabs. He's going to stick to setups instead of just bombing and looking for something big. He's got heavy kicks as well. He'll invest in those legs early, try to slow you down to take advantage there. And he will attempt multiple takedowns. If he gets a takedown, he's looking for control more than chasing. As I mentioned, well-rounded guy who will make adjustments in the fight. And if you're just watching the tape, he doesn't seem like a guy that gets finishes. But then if you look at the stats, all of a sudden, wow, this guy does a ton of finishes. He's taking on Lucas Alexander. Lucas Alexander might be the exact opposite in style. Powerful striker. He likes to showcase. He is flashy. He is chasing finishes. He uses kicks well to manage range. He'll explode inside the pocket. The grappling's okay. It's mostly defensive, but he does use that defensive wrestling to end up on top, to work in those grappling scrambles. He's got big power. He's got diverse striking. He's got solid training partners. And when he has cardio, which is not all the time, he can be a real threat. He is coming off that loss to Jekasar guy about a year ago. I like Bogdan here. I thought Bogdan was the pick when he was minus 120, minus 130. I never saw him at minus 200. And now that he's squarely the underdog, I think he's a solid underdog. I fully understand the love for Lucas Alexander here. Lucas is a fun guy. He has plenty of finishing upside. He can move forward. He can make things happen. But I think Bogdan's ability to stay controlled in the chaos will only help him out and help him find his openings. If he can lay out those leg kicks early, if he can sneak in a takedown, sort of slow the pace of Lucas, I think Bogdan will have some success. So I'm going Bogdan here. Was a massive favorite, is now the underdog. I haven't quite pulled the trigger on a bet yet because we're going to see where that line goes. What do you think, Krantz?
I I think that if Jacob was sitting here and instead of me, I think Jacob would be on Lucas Alexander. And I also think I kind of would agree with Jacob. Hopefully, Jacob's gonna pick Lucas Alexander,
I'll tell you who he
but
picked. Let's
I'm
see.
pretty sure he picked Brazil.
I gotta look. I gotta look on premium.
Really, that's what
Jacob,
it came down to. Was
Jacob did pick Lucas Alexander.
he did, and and it comes down to just betting against Brazil. And on this fight in particular, I mean, I know Bogdan Grad's got some finishes, right? And Lucas Alexander, obviously in his last fight, we saw that he can be finished. Pretty sure he lost by a first round knockout. Yep. But he also has got some decent wins in there too. Like I think Steven Peterson, he's not terrible. I thought he beat Chase Hooper a while back.
Steve Peterson's solid. Steve Peterson's a good fighter.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a good match. And just for me, I think I'm gonna be on the Brazil side. I think, like we said, Jacob's on Brazil too, and I kind of like him here.
Yeah,
Otherwise, though, I do agree with what you said. I see both sides in this fight. I mean, it's not confident. Like I don't. know that I'm going to put a serious bet on Lucas, but it is a pick. I would pick Lucas in this spot.
It is definitely a pick. I don't hate the Lucas pick. And when Lucas was an underdog, I was like, this is a solid underdog. And now that he's the favorite, it's like, I understand why he's the favorite. I understand that line movement. He's also the more proven entity of the two of them. He does have some UFC level wins. And yes, he got knocked out by Jekka, who's kind of a bum.
Yeah, Jekka.
Jekka's
Not the
kind of a
greatest
bum.
look. I know.
No?
You know what? I'm going to give him that one. It's on the. I know it wasn't like his UFC debut or anything, but
I mean, Jekka's got that sneaky power, and you can get caught with the sneaky
does.
power. It is what it is,
Yep.
right? It can happen to not everybody, but most fighters it can happen to. So
yeah,
I get.
And if I
Lucas
sit down
being
and
the
watch
favorite.
Lucas Saturday night get just laid out on the canvas because he was going in reckless and Bogdan caught him with something clean, then I wouldn't surprise me.
And that's exactly.
But I did sprinkle Lucas at plus money.
I mean, Lucas at plus money was a solid bet, and I think Bogdan at plus money. I think this is a 50-50 fight. So the opening odds were obscene to me. The current odds kind of make some sense, right? You have the obvious guy in Lucas, meaning obvious, he's moving forward, he's doing flashy stuff, he looks dangerous. And then you have the sneaky dangerous guy in Bogdan, who has 11 finishes in 14 wins, even though he comes out with a controlled pace, controlled energy, and just finds it when it comes to him. The DraftKings line is a little bit wide with 8,300 and 7,900. And what's interesting about the DraftKings lines and the betting odds is that the DraftKings lines don't change. That $8,300 was established when Bogdan was the favorite. He is obviously no longer the favorite, but here we are. $8,300.
I don't think I'm going to be putting Bogdan. Maybe I'll have Lucas in a couple of the bigger tournaments. I play DraftKings.
Yep.
Maybe I'll have Lucas in a couple bigger tournaments just because I like the price. And really the only thing I'm scared of is, like I said, if he gets knocked out again in the first round, Bogdan, it could happen. But I still am thinking that Lucas could score really well if he gets a win. So he could break the slate.
I actually think whoever wins this fight likely wins by finish. The upside is probably more on the Lucas side, meaning I actually think he is more dangerous of the two, even though he was the more recently finished of the two. But this should be a really fun fight, and it's pretty early on the card to set the tone for the rest of the card. This whole card starts at like 8 a.m. my time. So
Yeah.
we'll be
I'm okay with that.
drinking coffee.
Ish. Yeah, we'll be having a coffee instead of a couple margaritas, but I'm okay with that. I don't really have a whole lot. There's no sports going on right now. I know your kids are in sports, but
I'm in a nice little window here where my oldest sports are on Friday nights, and then my youngest, she does soccer. Soccer is not back yet. So for now, this being early on Saturday is actually spectacular, and I'm good with it.
Same here.
Bogdan Grad's going to be my pick. Seems like Crans and Jakey Boy, who's not here, is going with Lucas Alexander. If you do want to unlock all the picks, all the bets, all the tools, everything that we do, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's freaking $10 for an entire month, and you have access to every single thing we do for 4 events. Any last word, Crans?
My only last words is we're getting ready for 9 weeks, I think, straight.
It's 16, I believe.
Is it 16? I thought there was a week off somewhere.
No, there's
Maybe
11.
Right.
There's 11 fully listed and announced on the UFC's website, and then obviously there's others because the UFC is terrible at announcing their own shit. There's others that have not been announced yet, but the rumors are swirling.
Yeah, bro, you're right. Wow,
it's great. I love this time.
Great
this time of year is amazing.
Remember, every weekend every Saturday, literally every Saturday there's a fight.
What's funny
March
is
29th.
What's funny is I do this, and sometimes it's cumbersome, right? Like after UFC pay-per-views, I watch the pay-per-view. I don't drink, which I love a good drink. I don't drink during the pay-per-view because I have to sit in this exact chair at 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on the event. I have to put together the whole PowerPoint presentation. I have to do the whole thing, film a video, chop it up, and then try to calm myself down, which is very hard to do, so I can fall asleep. So on one hand, it gets intense, especially some of these fight nights are pay-per-view timing with a 9 p.m. main card.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when there are not fights, part of me is like, nice, a night off. And then the other part is like, what do I do with my life? This is great. This is the only thing I care about outside of my family.
I know I'm with you. Unless there's some family thing going on to distract me, I'm kind of like, what am I doing with my life? There's no fights on like Saturday night. I'm like, this is weird. I don't know.
It is tricky. I end up, what does happen during those stretches, and I know the wife hates it, but it is what it is. What ends up happening is we'll go out to dinner, we'll do whatever, and I just have my phone and I'm just watching the fights like this. And then I do a recap after watching a fight with zero audio, and people are like, "You idiot! How could you have seen it that way?" It's like, that's how I saw it. I didn't have anybody influencing my opinion. That's how I saw it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
And good luck this weekend.
Thanks, man. You too. Later, chat.
See ya.